Good one. Hey, everyone. Welcome to episode 3 of our micro webinar series on pattern thinking and how it can help IT deliver on business objectives. While this is the third one in this series, today's episode also marks a first for us, as original sponsor ConnectAll has been folded into Broadcom Software's Agile Operation Division. And ConnectAll's former CEO, Lance Knight, is now the newly minted Chief Value Stream Architect at Broadcom's AOD. But with all that change, some things stay the same, as Lance is with us again to share his thoughts on how automation patterns to connect business and development objectives and break down silos. Hey, Lance, good to be with you again. How you doing?
I am doing great, Dave. It feels good to be minted. I've never been minted before.
Newly minted.
Newly minted. It must be newly named. So cool. Well, that's special. I've been minted.
Yeah. All right. So listen, I know we're already short on time. But I just wanted to ask you real quick, in a couple of weeks since the merger announcement, how are things going for you?
If we're ConnectAll over there, it's going really great. Here's what's going on, right? It's really connecting that vision I had, I've talked to you about for a long time, where, organizations have to be able to do both, determine whether they're delivering value and do that efficiently. And if you remember a few years back, I did a whole speaking slot of, is it value management or value stream management? This is the question. What are we doing with this VSM stuff? Well, I've often always said it's both. So by bringing in ConnectAll and all the things that Broadcom does with their products and their value ops, now we're doing both. We're going to determine that we're delivering value, and we can see that all the way through the development lifecycle, and we can do that with some efficiency. So it's really a great, let's say, combination of things to bring that next level of value stream management to large organizations that ConnectAll couldn't have done it by its own anyway. Mm-hmm. So I'm really excited to be about not just having the company purchased or as part of Broadcom, but actually being a part of that team to continue that vision that I've had of what value stream management should be. Mm-hmm. And it's going to be really exciting. Let's see what happens over the next few years as we really start to look at how to take that market on in the right way.
Perfect. That sounds great.
That was a great corporate line. I said that very corporately perfect.
That was corporately perfect.
I'm practicing, Dave. I'm practicing.
I see. All buttoned down and everything. Good for you. So
where's
anyway,
my t-shirt?
Let's get into today's topic. So, we've been talking for a long time about how businesses struggle to align development efforts with the business outcomes. They didn't share the same tools, same languages, and that's probably still one of the biggest hurdles for organizations to clear, is how to make sure they're delivering, these outcomes. And you're going to talk about now, I guess, how patterns can help organizations get aligned on their priorities.
Absolutely. And I only got a few minutes because I got 2 minutes left, right?
I know. Well, we'll give you a few more.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So I'm hopefully just one bare second. This is where we would pick on Sheriff, right?
It's always good to pick.
Only Sheriff. Let's see that one. Hopefully you guys see that image there, which is mapping business objectives to work, right?
There it is.
Absolutely. So this comes right out of a Gartner report. And it's very interesting. I put much details in here, but this is how objectives kind of break down through the organization, right? They kind of climb down, where I have an objective at the top and I have key results. That should be related to other objectives in other organizations, and then going all the way down to features, code of production. Now, this is a really great hierarchical understanding of this in way it's looking at. But when you start to tie like some real world understandings of this, what do I need to do to make sure that I'm delivering against those objectives as all these things are downstream? So here's where some automation patterns can come into play, right? Mm-hmm. And you already said it. It's got this challenge, right? Where, there are all these different stakeholders. They're all in different tools or in different solutions. How do I ensure that the operational OKRs are communicated up to the business stakeholders, up and down, right? Because as a business stakeholder, I have things that I'm really interested in, but a lot of times those might not be an operational thing that I have to worry about. So here's where all of this can kind of come together by looking at these different patterns. Now, also, what's not represented on here is the customer. Where's their data? Where's their feedback coming from? So a lot of the different patterns you want to look at are things like patterns for um, feedback loop patterns. That's getting data from products like Pendo and so on, so that you can make sure that you're delivering value at the same time. And does that align to the business objective that you laid out? Right? Patterns from development. Development patterns would be more like, how many of these, let's say, valuable things have I delivered that are relevant to that OKR? And how do you do that when they're working in a product like Jira, but you've laid out your OKRs in Clarity? So that's where these patterns, these automation patterns, come into play to make you more efficient and give you real-time understanding of what's going on. So some of the different patterns I looked at were like CICD patterns, making sure that what's going down into the pipeline is communicating up that it's actually getting delivered against your key objective and your initiative. Things like real-time analytics monitoring. Now that pattern is actually connecting all these tools to capture data as these artifacts are flowing through. That data then can say, how much of that initiative have I completed? And then you're getting feedback loop patterns to say, how effective has this been? And actually, I have a full demonstration of this as well. Project management patterns. How far along am I getting? So all these patterns start to uncover. And I think the biggest pattern I think that's really important is the data aggregation pattern, where I can get data from all the tools that I'm using, aggregating those so to get a real-time view of, am I delivering the things I need to deliver against this objective to get my key results? Then feedback loops from those other tools to measure my key results. Mm-hmm. There's a lot in here, and there's a lot of tools in this mix too that kind of touch that. And there's some different pieces here, which this is how to become more predictable, because you have objectives at each stage that you need to be able to connect all the way up. And this, what I'm about to say, maybe resonate for some people. It's kind of like Hoshin planning from Lean.
Lean, right.
But it's not as complicated as that. But so these patterns uncover connecting your tools. They're human patterns to make sure that you're communicating these objectives up and down. So it's there's so much to this. I could do a whole 30-minute webinar on this one.
Yeah, but we don't have 30 minutes.
No, you took some of my time at the beginning, like normal. I'm all ears on your questions. Normal.
Yeah, well, I let you go a little longer than we normally would have. But to me, I mean, this just sounds basically like you're just enabling the communication to occur to make sure that you're staying, within the requirements and what you're delivering and building is aiming towards what the business wants to have done.
Right, but normally that business sits in a silo, right? I was just looking at an article about how normally initiatives and objectives sit in a silo, mm-hmm. and they're not communicating down or communicating up, because I could have an operational objective of something that's very important around maybe removing some technical debt or doing something like that, and it's not prioritized in the right way.
So what does that do to like the project manager now? They almost have to become half of what they used to call like a business analyst, who would be the person who could see the work that was being done and make sure that it was aligning with what the business goal was.
Well, that's more of prioritizing the work that goes in.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're validating what part of that's going in, right? So I love saying this because the value stream does not care if what you're putting in is valuable, right?
Right.
So most of what we do before a developer starts writing code is put together the artifacts to prove that what we want to do is what we want to do, and it is valuable. So that's where the project manager or even the product manager now would have to make sure of everything I'm putting in there has value and aligns to all of these different objectives. Mm-hmm. Not just one, but what about all the other objectives you have to pay attention to? Yeah. Right? What other key results, right? So you have to be able to almost prioritize against all of those things to deliver the right thing according to these objectives and the need to hit them. Mm-hmm. Because if you have security objectives that you need to hit, do I prioritize that over revenue objectives? Becomes pretty difficult. So you have to be a really good product manager to be able to weigh these things out.
Outstanding. Good stuff. All right. Newly minted Lance Knight, Chief Value Stream Architect at Broadcom. You need a new shirt. I gotta
get it. I know I missed the Connect All t-shirts, right? I'm gonna get a shirt up in the put on the back. I've just been newly minted, and I'm gonna wear that.
That's good. That's great. Well, Lance, thanks again as always for being with us. We'll look forward to our next session, which is July 18th at 1 o'clock, where we'll be looking at top automation patterns to accelerate DevOps. So that should be a good one. And thanks everybody for tuning in as always. We appreciate you listening. Until next time, I'm Dave Rubenstein, Editor-in-Chief of SD Times. So long for now.